morning, ma'am.
Yeah, good morning, Gagan. Good evening, Ritu. Let's begin with the harmony circle. The topic being forgetfulness and remembrance, or remembrance and forgetfulness. And before we do, as we mostly do, just in gathering ourselves, let's take a few breaths with full attention, all the way in, all the way out. And while we are doing it, witnessing to how the thoughts don't want us to be, how the thoughts just come in and want us to forget what we are trying to remember. Like right now, I want to remember to look at my next, say, 5 breaths. Let's see how we forget while we are breathing, while we are taking those 5 breaths. Yes. So we wanted to take, say, 5 breaths. So let's start with Jagan, who's looking really fresh and ready to roll. So Jagan, kindly unmute and share that if you are able, if say we are asking ourselves to focus on, say, just 5 breaths, were you able to do it, or there are things that try to come in and block it?
So for the first cycle, I couldn't focus, but then I tried to refocus on the second and third. It went well. I was able to observe what was happening with my breathing. The moment the third ended, I had a thought that actually, if you could not make noise while you're breathing, that was what my mind was telling me. And then it went to something else about a friend of mine who complained about making noises when sleeping, and that's it. I lost it at 4, and then I tried to end at 5.
Yeah. Thank you, Jagan. Yeah, Ritu, anything from you?
First 1 or 2 breaths is okay, but after that, even if I'm trying hard, I'm telling myself to focus, but still somehow the mind goes off here and there. So even 5 breaths is difficult.
It's like very reflective that here we are holding a harmony circle on remembrance and forgetfulness. And if we are asking ourselves to stay with the breath, like telling ourselves, our body, breathing is part of the body, right? Like it's prana and body. So if I'm telling myself, okay, from now for the next 5 breaths, I have to focus on just the breath. Even that is being made difficult somehow, right? We can blame it on, say, distracting forces. We can blame it on that I don't know, I don't have a control over my brain. I don't have a control over my thoughts. But then ultimately there's something that I am lacking, right? I am lacking a certain practice that I'm unable to say control where I want to focus, where I want to pay attention, even for 5 breaths, 3 breaths. And then I complain that, I'm not able to focus, or I'm not able to remember or pay attention to what I want to pay attention to. So, this again reminds me, I find it really beautiful that, when Thich Nhat Hanh, that Vedam Thai, when he came for a show with Oprah Winfrey, when she asked him that how do you remain so calm, how are you so centered, and everybody was expecting big answers, and all he said was that this is my practice. So if these things are important to us, and this is everybody, not pointing fingers, right? We are all on the same board. So we better, practicing a little bit more focusing, more concentration, so that we can, extend it beyond and in other aspects of our life. So let's try it again while we are all together. So, because, these thoughts, they have, like, if we look at them, the loops have no logic, right? Like, it seems that the only thing they want is just distraction. The only thing they want is that, okay, just don't be here right now. Like, it's said in many talks that somehow the ego is scared to be in the present moment, because in the present moment is where she's the weakest. Because if you're fully there, then you cannot be played into the past and the present. And I don't know, many other things we don't know so much. Okay, so again, we'll try this. Sincerely first sitting with ourselves and telling ourselves that, okay, for the next 5 breaths, I will just be focusing on the breath. Just 5 breaths, it's not much. And let's do that again. When we are done, we can open our eyes.
So with me, what happens is that if I'm just focusing on the breath, like in and out, then it is more difficult. But if I'm just saying something in my mind, like Om or Soham or something like this, then it's easier.
Yeah, but again, coming to this thing that just looking at my state of affairs, right? That say this, they say the mantra or the chant is like a helper, right? It's a rope that ties us to our center. So we are not talking about like 30 minutes. We're not talking about even 5 minutes, 15 minutes, right? We're talking about me wanting to take 5 breaths without the thought saying that, hey, look here, right? So, I mean, just this conclusion that the state of affairs is pretty sad And if I'm talking about, we are reading about self-mastery, internal, integral yoga and controlling my anger, my loneliness, my reactions, right? And yet, if I am telling myself that, okay, now for the next 5 breaths, just the breath, it doesn't listen, right? So that means that the foundation on which I am trying to make higher progress, first the foundation needs to be strengthened. Right? We'll do it again at the end of the session. And if possible, now that we have, and it's not nothing new, right? But yet, I don't know why it does not hit more of us on our faces, that this is quite reflective and hardly anything, right? Like whenever I'm free during the day, let me see if I can focus on 3 breaths, 4 breaths. Let me try to be there for 5 breaths, and then maybe we can want to be there. Once you start, you would want to be there for more breaths and more things. That's a secondary thing. So at least the 3 of us here now. So we will do this for the next week, and then we'll practice and we'll see in 1 week how it changes, because I assure you it changes. It's a promise. There is no that, okay, it will change for you, it will change not for me type. That it does change. It's just that it's nowhere in our priority list. It's not the task we have taken up yet. The moment we take it, we feel, oh my God, this doesn't make sense, and we just run away. But we have never been with it even that much so that we can master 5 breaths. Yes, Chagan.
Yes. So just to share the experience, first 2 breaths were distractive. The last 3 were good. First 2 breaths, there was this comparison that my mind like brought it like this. So it felt like my friend Kiran, who, while we are watching a very interesting movie, she stops us, "Boliye, ruko, 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 ruko," and she'll say something very irrelevant and very random because she just wanted to express it. But then we just look at her and we have this question mark face, like, okay, so, and then she's like, okay, let's continue watching the movie. So it felt like my mind is doing that to me. So yes.
So another thing I just want to share here, it's not a little off topic. One day when I was just sitting and meditating, it felt like we take in oxygen and then we breathe out carbon dioxide. So, I mean, in a way, from the cosmos or the environment or the everywhere present consciousness, we breathe in so much of positivity, and then somehow if we are not breathing consciously, we're always a little tensed or in anxiety, stress, pain, and so we are breathing negativity out. So I think in scientific terms we would call it oxygen, which is life-giving, and carbon dioxide, which is like negativity. But if we breathe consciously, then we'll breathe in positivity and breathe out positivity only. So I just tried doing it once and it felt very nice, thinking that I'm breathing in positivity and I'm also like I've taken in something positive. So I'm supposed to give out something positive.
Yes.
So I thought maybe the scientists, they don't know that oxygen and carbon dioxide is positivity and negativity. They just label it differently. One day they'll realize.
In a lot of meditative practices, that again, I'm thinking of Thich Nhat Hanh, Thai. He talks about, I'd shared with you, and I think I've shared with both of you that beautiful meditation of, in, out, right? Calm, deep, mild release, present moment, wonderful moment. All aspects, if you see, right? Like when I'm calm, right? I am deeper. When I'm there with the in breath, I can be with the out breath. When I'm smiling, I can release the things I'm holding on to, right? And say in the practice even of, I mean, I don't have to go into the details, but yes, the fact is that even one breath, when I take consciously, suddenly I feel more centered, right? Like as if I have more weight, as if I am more present, as if I mean more, right? One conscious breath. And we are taking countless unconscious breaths throughout the day. So if we can periodically just put in, like how we speak about maybe one breath an hour, I'll focus on an alarm on the phone. You know how, again, some people say, "Okay, when I think I'd heard the story that when I had shared that in a Plum Village, whenever phone rings, nobody answers the phone because the phone is that indication that we all have to connect within. So it has to ring for 4 or 5 times before anybody would even start moving, because it's like a knock that, okay, where are you? What are you doing? Breathe, see how you're feeling in the body, and then you would proceed to pick up the phone. And it sounds really simple, right? And these are the things that we would like to do, right? Like we would want to incorporate this more, because then that makes us more centered, more focused, more present, even preparing ourselves for the topic, say for remembrance. And yet we forget, right? And see, if we are looking at the thoughts now, say right now, Jagan shared about how the 2 breaths were distractive, the third one he was able to do. That is because there's something like, it's it's like sometimes, I get the image of, and it's funny and apologize, that how say a sage Vashisht is sitting in samadhi and the whole world is dancing around him, right? Like we talk about, say, that apsara and this apsara and how they're trying to distract him not to focus. And yet, is it not the story of all of us, right? We would want to sit in samadhi. I'm like, but obviously our want is not that strong there, right? We think we would want to. And the moment I close my eyes, it's like the whole world is trying to distract me, dance around me, that, hey, look here, look there. That friend, that thought, that chore that needs to be done. So who wins, right? Every time the world has been winning. And yet I have that sage in me who can withstand, right? But because it's not important for me, because see, life is very reflective of what has been important for me. I have conquered that, right? If or whatever was important to society and I thought it's important for me, when things weren't given a choice कि schooling तो करनी ही है, right? For example, तो ये तो कभी सोचा ही नहीं कि अरे स्कूल से ही निकल जाते हैं, क्या करना है, कहीं और चलते हैं गुल्ली डंडा खेलने, right? Like that thing, even if it came, it was a very passing funny thought कि एक थप्पड़ पड़ा और वापस स्कूल पहुंच गए, right? तो somewhere this is very sure, I like not to admit it, but मैं चाहती ही नहीं हूँ, right? I don't want it, because if I would have sincerely wanted it, even a little bit, there would have been more of peace and centeredness and focus in my life. And the fact that it's not there is reflective of this truth, which that I have not wanted it enough. तो इसमें कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. It's like, it takes a second to shift, right? That now that I know that I have not been sincere in where I want to be, and now that I know that I want to be there and I want to be more sincere, I want it to affect my everyday life. Let me incorporate this small thing which would help me being more centered. And then it's just about practice and sincerity. Like I said, we'll do it for 1 week and we'll see how that changes. But then थोड़ा सा effort डालना पड़ता है, and before it becomes our habit and our pattern. Hi Sham, welcome.
Hello, Taru.
So Sham, we were just discussing that how it's so tough for us to even, kind of simply just focus on 5 breaths. We try to do that and how and why it's happening. And I'm again sure that all of us would have noticed, like Jagan was sharing, that the things that I am distracted with, they're not very big things, right? They're just silly nothings, right? One thing leading to the other. And a lot of times when I'm having random everyday conversations where we end up from where we started has no connection, right? We're talking about one topic, suddenly some memory came, we thought talking about that, then that person started sharing something, and then we talk about the fourth person who said something, as in it's ऐसा लगता है कि बस टाइम पास कर रहे हैं, है ना? मतलब इतना उसका कुछ वो है नहीं, तो इतना टाइम है हमारे पास कि बस पास ही करते रहते हैं, which is okay. But just seeing it, कि this is what I do, nothing big, new, great is coming. It's just the everyday that I'm occupied with. And that is why I'm not able to have remembrance. I'm not able to, that is why I keep losing my aim, right? The focus towards my aim. We have discussed it so many times, and it's Ritu's favorite statement that from the mother, in the aimless life, or Sri Aurobindo, I don't know, an aimless life is a miserable life. So this is what is meant, right? That kuch bhi chalta hai, jo bhi aa gaya, we are doing it, right? There's no walking towards anything.
And then, when I say an aimless life is a miserable life, Monica always adds, even the quality depends, quality of your aim.
Because that is the second sentence, right? In this, an aimless life is a miserable life, and on the quality of your aim will depend your life. Because अगर समझ लो aim है कि BMW लेनी है, तो फिर we'll work, which again, how Sri Aurobindo says that nothing goes for waste. उसमें भी तो muscles ही develop हो रही है ना, sincerity की, effort की, determination की. But then when I'm sitting in the BMW, after maybe 1 hour or maybe 20 minutes, it's like, अच्छा बस, okay, now what's next, right? So it didn't get me anything except that thing which I think is amazing. But what is it doing to me? I don't know. Similarly, I've been thinking, how again Sham is here. I know you also have relation with this, like schools, right? Like, and I don't know, when I say the word Harvard, Princeton, Yale, it seems like they're bigger than life. Right? Like ऐसे लगता है बस ये तो, oh my God, like if I meet somebody who says he's from Harvard, he's from Harvard, I'd be like, oh my God, like he's not a normal human being. And yet those are my perceptions, right? You look at them, you talk to them, it's like nothing really. So I don't know, just wanted to share that.
भारत में भी एक है ISI, इंडियन स्टैटिस्टिकल इंस्टीट्यूट, कोलकाता में.
सुना भी नहीं है, right? Like just
सुना नहीं है.
Yeah.
नहीं, it is a very good institute for learning statistics and mathematics.
Okay. ISI सुना है शाम.
ISI है इंडियन स्टैटिस्टिकल इंस्टीट्यूट, भारतीय सांख्यिकी संस्थान.
So you're joining that, Sham?
नहीं, ज्वाइनिंग नहीं, एक बार मतलब कि उसका रिटर्न लिखा था, क्वालिफाई भी कर गया था, बट मॉमी का ट्रीटमेंट करवा रहा था और जा नहीं पाए थे वहां पे. ठीक है, तो उसके लिए भी दर्द है दिल में कहीं ना कहीं. Yeah, Taru, what the topic was, that remembrance and forgetfulness. So many a times, whatever happened in the past life, say in this life only, maybe in the growing up years from 22 to 30, if it means, what do you call? That is the time when you actually get a bird's eye view of life. बहुत सारा उथल-पुथल होता है. You work for say 6-7 years, okay. Then probably when you are in somewhere around 28 or 29, when you lose someone, or when you are in a relationship, that relationship breaks down and all that thing happen, then probably all these experiences, they wear a feather on your, they wear like a, what do you call, they are like a feather on your cap, okay. And many a times they inhibit your what you call, they inhibit your work-life balance, and they do a lot of problematic things that lose your self-confidence, takes a your self-confidence takes a beating, and all that thing happen. So how to overcome that? How can we overcome that? I'm sure everyone would have experienced something of that sort.
So, Shyam, I'm sorry, just to clarify, what you just shared was that how, at a certain point in our lives, you gave an age
Mm.
group, that how life seems to beat you down.
Yeah.
And that takes us into some, spiral of why is this happening to me? And then the underconfidence,
Mm.
how to deal with that, right? That's what you asked.
हाँ, योर सेल्फ कॉन्फिडेंस टेक्स अ बीटिंग, और आपको खुद पे यकीन नहीं रह जाता है कि मेरे से ये होगा कि नहीं, और am I worth it, or and all that. Even though many a times you are worth it, you are maybe, what do you call, how do I put into words, you are maybe beyond that and everything, but your self confidence takes a beating, and it gets and you go down the hill, and you think that, am I really worth it? Will I be able to do it? And even if you get good scores and all that and everything, then also you are not rock sure in my mind that will I get my perch and all that. Your self-confidence takes a beating, and it reflects in your, what you call, in your body shape also. Like, you experience hair loss and all those things. You tend to lose your sleep many a times. और फिर जब घर में कोई दूसरा आदमी बीमार पड़ता है तो आपको लगता है कि कहीं what if I lose her also. और भले ही वो बीमारी टर्मिनल इलनेस नहीं हो, बस एक नॉर्मल चीज हो.
Shyam, when I'm listening to you, it sounds like, how the everyday just is making me dance on its tunes, right? Something good happens, I feel confident. Something maybe not as per my expectations happen, I lose confidence. People are well, I say that, oh, life is good, it's fun. Let's go and party. Somebody's sick. I'm like, no, 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 this doesn't make sense, So this is what life is, right? And of course, there are ups and downs, but I am beyond these ups and downs. But if I feel that, okay, one event is taking me up, one event is taking me down, and with the up, I go up, with the down, I go down, I must experience that, right? If I'm feeling depressed, I must feel depressed. And then I'll see there's a power that tries to wake me. Because if I'm letting the outside control me fully, and if I'm not able to step back, I will have to, ride each wave till I am tired and I feel that nahi, ye to bahut zyada ho raha hai, ye to solution nahi ho sakta. Then I'll have to step up and see. As in, what I'm trying to say is that life will teach us ourselves if we are letting these things, and we do. It's not about you or me, right? We keep forgetting who we are, and we think we are the wave, and we go tha up and down. Arey fir se hit hua, bahut dard ho raha hai. And yeah, and about losing people and all, and health, I think again, all these things can either take us into fear, right? Or they can take us into faith that, what I'm focusing on. I don't know what I'm focusing on. Can I focus on better things? This fear of death, fear of health, again, they can take us into gratefulness, that how blessed we are even with the things we are having. Okay, if I'm sick, I can afford hospitals, I can afford treatment. I have people around me who are taking care of me. That is in itself a blessing. There are people who die on the streets. There are bodies which remain unclaimed on the streets despite giving, in news, they say this body was here, that body was there. Like, no matter what happens, it's my choice whether I take it personally on my face or I'm able to see that, okay, it's happening and I'm feeling the pain, and yet there's something in me which is witnessing. They see, he's again falling. See, he is so happy that this happened. तो जस्ट दिस ये जो साइड का एक विटनेस चलता रहता है, अगर उसको थोड़ा सा साथ में रखें, सो दैट हेल्प्स. In I don't know, my father had shared this with me. What was the context? I don't remember. He had shared that there's the outside world and there is this brain, the brain which is acting like a veil, like it's like a parda, he said. And then there's a tunnel. So he said the tunnel is my soul. Of course, the outside is the world, and this is my brain. So if when I'm looking here in the world, I'm the doer, right? The doer who's looking, being, seeing. So when I'm the doer, I forget that in that tunnel is the light through which I'm seeing the world. And the journey is, again to see that this is the light. The light is not coming from this eyes, the brain, the body. The tunnel, the soul is giving me the light. So when I am looking in the tunnel, I'm connected and I'm realizing my truth. And how we are always just looking outside, thinking this is deciding, this is the main thing. Then this thing too will go up and down with all the giant wheels, right? When I'm up, I'm happy. When giant wheel is down, I'm sad. That's how it is. There's nothing strange about it, right? I can just see that's how it's always been.
I heard I heard a similar thing wherein it said that that a mind is like the deluge, that means like the borderline of a house. So our mind can either see outside the entire world or it can see inside. So, but most of the time our mind is so attracted towards what's all happening outside. But then if we just turn around and see what is in here, then we get a different perspective of what is outside also.
I think I heard the same thing. I remember the word Delhi.
Yeah. So the deluge was a mind. So
Yeah.
it depends where we point our mind, where we focus our mind.
This is very, very active. Let's just close our eyes. And it's like I'm standing right here and say there are two squares in front of my vision. Like there's a square on my right, there's a square on my left. And in one of the squares, say the whole world is there, right? The things that are important to me, the degree which is important to me, the job, the person, the lifestyle, the image, my wants, my needs. People who I love, they are standing in that square. And say on the left, there's just nothing, right? There's just, say, if we have to imagine, say, the mother is standing or Krishna is standing on the left, and I am in the center, right? The pull of the outer seems so intense that although I'm looking at the divine, if they call to us that, hey, come, it takes effort, right? It takes effort for me to take even the first step because I'm so looking at the square with all my things. It's not a no-brainer for me. So when I say I want peace, but my actions, what I'm doing, are taking me towards unpeace most of the time. I say I want simplicity, which is, in the other square, But what I'm doing, everything that I'm doing the every day is complicating life more and more for me. So there are contradictions that I'm creating myself. So for me right now, if my focus is on the square, which has all these things, these attractions, these illusionary, castles and palaces and pools and, things I would like to grab and grasp, I might as well, it will serve me better if I'm here fully, when I can see that, oh, this happened and see how I fall, my God, how it hurts. And I'm lying on the floor with the pain. And when it's taking me up, I see, oh God, see, this is what it's making me feel. And when I'm down, I see that, okay, just the circumstances are here, and tomorrow the giant wheel will go up again and I'll again be up. So just seeing this in honesty and sincerity changes a lot for me. So I keep doing this visualization, and just doing this constantly has changed some things for me. The ease with which I'm willing to walk towards where I want to walk. It really kind of put more light to the honesty and my sincerity with which I say I want things, and how I stick to the things I'm sticking to. I just wanted to share them. And I have to just.
Charu, but here, let's say like in one square and the other square. Where did you go?
No, I'm here. Ritu, can you just give me 1 second? I just have to be back. Yeah, you can read this and then we'll take.
Should I read it out aloud?
No, I just have to. You give me 1 minute.
So Jagan, do you also follow Sri Aurobindo and the mother?
Yes, ma'am. Hello?
Yeah, sorry about that. My son was in the washroom and he was calling him. So yes, Ritu, first let's take up what you were saying and then we'll go through.
Yeah, so what I was saying was that here you said that in one square and the other square. So in one square, you can see the whole world, all the attractive things, Maya, Prakriti. And in the other square, you see somebody who you consider as divine.
Either you can see just emptiness, right? Like a place where there's nothing, right? There just is nothing. Or what attracts me, right? Say a guru might attract me, an image might attract me, a deity might attract me. So I'm saying that the world against what I feel a pull towards, right? A natural, honest, internal pull towards peace, white light, anything.
So I think
you are stuck, at least for me. Are you able to hear, Ritu?
Inclined.
Yeah, Ritu, your voice is cracking.
Okay now? Is it better?
हाँ, अब better है, बोलो फिर, just start,
Then when
restart.
I switch on my camera, then
Yeah.
the network becomes poor. So what I'm saying is that I personally feel that the people who can consider someone as a guru, or someone they can follow, or a deity to whom they are dedicated to, they are so lucky. I mean, otherwise sometimes we are just confused in this also, as to who to follow, who would be a guru, and in the mind we have so many doubts. Is this person really worth being a guru? No, no, no. See, this part of him, this person doesn't deserve to be called guru. We have so many sometimes doubts in our mind on reading the mythological books and all. So I think to be able to completely surrender to a guru or a deity is also grace, which is not there with everybody.
Yeah. And most of us would have gone through this state that you're talking about to even reach that place where one can now say that, yes, this is it, right? Because the mind, the ego, will not let it be, right? Like if they are the ruler, how can they hand over the kingdom to somebody else, even briefly, even intermittently? How? So there's a full-on withdrawal, right? Like attacks on all sides, like mental, vital, physical, and from inside and the world, right? That, are you crazy? You do
Yeah.
not know Babas, what they do. So
Mm-hmm.
just know that this is also the process. Doubting
Hmm.
is the process. I remember Acharya Ji, Acharya Prashant, he used to say something so beautiful. He used to say that agar revolt karna hai, if you disagree with 100% of what you have inside of you, revolt with all that you have. Because एक रावण को खत्म करने के लिए तो राम खुद आए थे, राइट? और जो हमारा रिवोल्ट भी होता है, जो हमारी ईवल भी होती है, वो भी बहुत इधर उधर से होती है ना, दबी दबी आवाज में. तो उसमें we are nowhere, right? Neither here, neither there. So the one who says, I don't believe, he has more hope than somebody who's saying that maybe, maybe not, right? I do like that at times that, yeah, Sneha. So basically, we were just, I don't know when you joined, but we were doing a small practice in which we were just closed our eyes and we were just, as if we have separated, say in front of us, there are two squares, like, this way I have divided my vision and we can do it any way. This was just one of the ways. And say on the square on my right, I see my whole world. I see what attracts me, what pulls me, the things I want, the position I want, or, anything, my family, anything, the whole thing. And on the left, maybe, there's just silence, there's just peace, there's just light. There could be a guru, a deity, a light again. So Ritu was just saying that she feels that the one who can imagine a guru, who can relate to a guru here, is blessed, because then for them, that journey towards taking which square, it becomes easier. So that was the context. Yeah, anything before we move on? Okay. So I had shared something from the mothers, so we can read it. I had not read it fully, but it seemed really interesting. So whoever is ready can read it out for us. The question is, Sweet Mother, how can one feel the divine presence constantly? So we were talking about remembrance, and hence I thought this was an important question. Yes, please, whoever is there.
I can relate.
Yeah.
The incarnate word, sweet mother, how can one feel the divine presence constantly? Why not? Mother says. But how can one do it? Mother says, but I'm asking why one should not feel it instead of asking the question how to feel it. I ask the question, why do you do that? You don't feel it. There is no reason not to feel the divine presence. Once you have felt it, even once, you should be capable of living, of feeling it always, for it is there. It is a fact. It is a fact. It is only our ignorance which makes us unaware of it. But if we become conscious, why should we not always be conscious? Why forget something one has learned? When one has had the experience, why forget it? It is simply a bad habit, that's all. Ma'am, should I continue with the next paragraph?
Again, I think it's good to take a pause. Any reflections from anybody, please. This line that once you have felt it, even once, you should be capable of feeling it always, for it is there. Mother has answered this question several times, and she always says that don't ask me, how do I remember? Ask yourself, how do you forget? And she says that there is no one who has never felt the big, the true, the large, the divine in some instance or the other. And yet we forget, right? I remember, once, Ritu knows this, that once I had lost key to a car and we were out stationed. And I think 5 or 6 people had looked in the car that it must be in the car, it must be in the car. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, we kept looking that or kahi ja hi nahi sakti, and we just could not find it. So, I kind of sat down, I prayed, I asked the mother that we really need to find the key, please show it to me and stuff. And then I went, and when I opened the car, right where we had, all of us must have looked at the place for maybe 20, 25 times, it was sitting, in one of those loops between the foot mat or something. And my first reaction wasn't that I was shown this. My reaction was, oh, I found it. No, I found it. And once I was done with saying I found it, suddenly it hit me after some time, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that, oh, you did? Good for you. Like that voice asked me. And then I was like, no, 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 no. Sorry, mother gave it to me. So it's like, see how it's like when I couldn't find it, I'm sitting there very earnestly, sincerely, that mother, please, I need it, right? The moment I find it, it's me who has found it. We fall sick. Things happen to us. There are challenges. We bow down, we cry, our head is on the floor and we are like, bus, help me, show me. And the moment things get okay, we are like, that doctor helped. Or, I know I did this, and that happened. And we forget the grace that was shown to us, the faith that was given to us. We pick it up, right? I become the doer again, the doer again. And the moment I become the doer, the karta, right? I forget what I have to remember. You remember we had read about, heard that thing that when I'm the karta, I'm the bhokta. And if I'm not the karta, I will not bear anything that happens to me too. I think this is what came to me when we were reading this line that I had highlighted, that we all have felt it. And yet we feel that this is real life, and that was just something that maybe I dreamt or felt or thought I felt. And this is where it says that we lose it. This is where we are unable to progress or be where we want to be, or become more in love with what is, because we think this is real and that was just a feeling. Oh, brush it off. That means nothing. So it is our ignorance which makes us unaware of it. But if we
Yeah.
become conscious, yes.
Yeah, Taru, how do I kill that I-ness in me?
Yeah,
I know it is very childish.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I know.
How do I kill that I-ness in me? And I know it is childish on my part to ask it, but it is almost engulfing at times.
Yeah, so Sham, when you actually look at a child, right? Like you have some niece or nephew, you said you are babysitting, right? When you look at them, and the child will be childish, right? And if they're saying something really silly, and you ask me, how do I kill them? So the answer is that we don't have to kill the child, right? We just have to see that it is a child and it is being childish. So if it's asking for something that doesn't need to be given, which is not good for them, I can just not give them that, right? I can just try to distract them. I can show them something more interesting so that they stop throwing their tantrums. The child doesn't have to be killed. He just has to be shown more worthwhile things, and at times ignored, rejected, that no, we simply can't do that. I'm sorry. Just recognizing that this is the child in me, the childishness in me, which is saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. I see it, I recognize it. And yet I choose whether I want to give it or not. Lot of times we do indulge. We give the child 1 chocolate, 2 chocolate, 3 chocolate, for example. And then we say that, array, the love for chocolates is so much that I cannot give them anymore. So
Also,
that's it. Yeah. Yes, Nandini, sorry.
No. Yeah, that's, it just, even what you replied to Sham's question, how do I kill this I-ness or the ego, And I think you only said it in one of the other sessions that, or I think it was Monica who said that, that like, who would you kill? The ego or the I? It is not there. You kill something which is there. So it's just like other day I was reading, there was this beautiful example that was shared in the class, in some other class, and they were saying that, when you enter into a dark room and if there is a rope or something like that, and if you touch it, you first, out of your ignorance, what comes is snake. Oh my God, this is a snake. And you just freak out and there is so much frustration. But if you just turn on the light, you just see that it's not a snake, it's actually a rope. So it's just same here, that if you turn on the torch of knowledge or gyan, you really realize that there is no sick, there is no I, there is no ego. It is just a rope, it is just falsehood. And like in my practical, something like I can share with my, like how I have tried to little bit try it, still fail it. But I used to, like, if somebody tells me, especially my partner, because I think in intimate relationship you really get challenged. And like if he say no, or if he'll say something bad, like I will so much. The thing what I was saying, that the divine presence is always there, it's you don't feel it. Also because we keep filling it up with so much garbage, so much garbage we keep up filling. We just don't even have to do anything, just don't fill it up with everything. And like I will fill up with myself with anger, with anguish, and there will be drama. I'll go quiet or I'll say something. And after one of those sessions, I just realized that it actually happened. I did not even put an effort. There was something he said or something somebody said at work, felt really, really this thing. But immediately I just asked myself, as soon as I got hurt, as soon as that, that feeling of not being centered or feeling that divine presence, that we feel that lightness and that peace, as soon as I felt that, I just asked myself, but who is it that is getting hurt? Who is it feeling? Who is there? I asked myself, who is there? And I just like, ego it is my ego, right? It is the false image that is there, and it is not serving me because it's giving me so much pain and discomfort. And I immediately said, no, I don't want it. I just said that I don't want you. I say no to you. I close the door so that no drama comes in. And after 10 minutes, like again, I just maybe called the mother, or just go out in fresh air, or just deep breathing. Even, for example, your other time you were asking me that sometimes you feel so much bogged down in life, and anxiety kicks in, you start losing the hair and everything. And from my experience, I always feel that choice is ours. We have this feeling of training our body which can stop it. Like even deep breathing, for example, if we just deep breathe 5 times, suddenly we have that power of connecting with the divine self. and you just kind of lose it. And once it happened, I felt so happy. And then second time it happened, I tried to do it, and then my partner was really surprised. The third time he said, something strange happened, you did not shout, you did not this thing. I said, okay, we'll not do it. And I felt so happy that we could resolve things so easily. So by the third time, I had a proof that if I just close that door of that ego, it is actually helping me. So it is really in my benefit to close that door, to not believe that I'm a separate self or that ego. So I didn't even have to kill it, right? I just have to realize that it's not there. It's false. Just that rope that you get scared, but once the light turn on, it's not a snake. And every time you will encounter that rope, you will know it's not a snake, and you'll not get afraid. So that's the thing. And it's a practice, right? We keep falling, but it keeps, I see it in myself as well a little bit. And with all of us, it will keep lessening and lessening as we practice and practice. So I think that's it. Just recognizing, no killing, no nothing. Just it's not there. Nothing is there. We are really the divine mother's child. I just tell myself, I'm your child, your daughter. So like that's it. That's what I really want to identify myself with. And for me, it has worked a little by little by little. So maybe that helps.
Ma'am, when Shyam and Nandini was sharing about the I was like asking myself, यार अभी तो सीख रहा हूँ I बोलना, अभी फिर killing की बात चल रही है यहाँ पे. But in my opinion, I think that I is also important. Like I think I is important when I want to point fingers at someone and said, yeah, dekho, this is what you did. This is wrong. And that is when I think I need to think of I and see what mistakes I have with him. But yeah, like in the example that was shared, yes, like you were saying, I found the keys. In that sense, I would say yes. Mother helped me find the keys. So yes.
Yeah, Chakan, absolutely. How mother says that, for a lot of things, this thing is used that ego is the helper and ego is the bar. That helps me with certain things, but beyond that, when I use it, I'm harming myself, right? But that individualization is needed. And then it needs to be surrendered. It needs to be dropped. And, when Vandani was sharing one more thing, how sometimes what helps is like, say that mother's quote, which is the one which is circulated a lot, that if you're being unhappy, know that you're being insincere, right? So anytime I see myself in the up and down or something affecting or thing, I immediately just remember this. Then I know that the center of operation is not truth. Right? Okay, this is affecting me. I'm kind of losing it, or it's bothering me. But if just that I know that, how Nani was sharing, that it's a rope and not the snake, suddenly there's something that makes it less intense, right? Less threatening, less true. So if I just even recognize that this is not coming from the right center, mother says that if I'm, not happy, I'm being insincere. It changes. I might still react in wrong ways, but there's something that knows that, ये तो drama ही चल रहा है, चलो कर लो और enjoy कर लो, ले लो रस, kind. So, but at least a lot of time then it's an acknowledgement, right, that I'm going into the drama, knowing that I'm going into the drama. So that helps in maintaining one level, a certain level of, I don't know, distance, that thoda sa consciousness or witnessing aspect usme, there's a room for it to be there.
Yeah, Taru, Nandini sharing was very candid and honest, and it was very helpful. Okay. But that again, we keep flipping back, no? That is the biggest individual idiocy that's there in me. Probably it may be there in other people too. Okay. And many times it seems insurmountable. Okay. कि कभी फिर छुटकारा मिल भी पाएगा.
Yeah, Shyam, you're using the absolute right words. It seems, it appears. So it's just, just focus on these as well, because you're using the absolute right terminology. ऐसा लगता
it is an
है.
individual idiocy, and कभी-कभी लगता है कि will I be able to get rid of idiosyncrasies like this? Will I be able to get to the other side of the shore? और वो सवालात बार-बार आता है. और आना ही है जब तक ये चले ना जाए.
Yeah. So again, how this is also there, that once when we are done with this, getting the crushed by the wave again and again and again on the shore, there's something in me which then says that, mere se to nahi ho raha. There has to be something bigger which will take me to the shore. And then comes, and then जब तब सिर झुकता है तो और genuinely झुकता है. अभी तो हम झुका भी रहे होते हैं और बोल रहे होते हैं, अरे यार मिट्टी लग रही है यार, थोड़ा बाल तो ठीक है ना मेरे. बट जब वो genuinely fully गिरने के बाद उठता है ना, फिर झुकता है, सॉरी, देन उसमें एक जो certitude होता है, जो truth होती है, that then helps us. So you're absolutely right. Being who I am, using the tools that I know, the eyes that I see with, it's not possible for me because the task is too big. But when I am sure of it, once I have been beaten enough, and be assured that you will be beaten enough, because we are all beaten enough and repeatedly. This is, again, this is the ego which says कि खाली मेरे साथ हो रहा होगा. So know that, every story is us, like how Rumi says, every story. In this regard, in that regard, little bit, everything we hear, we know it comes in us too. So we have to go down our heads. If we are lucky, we are able to go down our heads, and then something shifts.
Yeah, but many times we feel ourselves torn apart between that surrender, that anxiety, and that bowing down of our head, and that I-ness, and all that. And it is an idiocy too, that being torn apart when we know that we are nothing. The next moment, we may lose our breath and we may be gone.
Yeah, but पता है कर के ही आता है ना, मतलब we have to see that, see I'm doing it wrong again, see I'm being kind of swept off again, and that's how we learn finally to say कि अब नहीं गिरूंगा. Now I'll close the door, for that certitude, for that confidence to come. First, this is, I don't know, this is the journey, this is the way. There cannot be any other way. One cannot say that, ये क्यों हो रहा है या मेरे साथ ही हो रहा है, मतलब रास्ता ही यही है. तो फिर how do we say this? Because बिना गिरे हम उठते नहीं है. मतलब ना, we just keep walking in that comfort zone unless we are given slaps, hard slaps that shock us. we will not wake up. So this is, again, I think once shared, a friend of mine who was going through like really strange things, like huge things in worldly terms, one after the other, one after the other. And one day she said that, I just feel that there's somebody in the universe who loves me so much that he will not rest till I mend my
Improve
ways.
upon,
I'm so grateful. Yeah. So
improve upon myself and all that.
exactly. So just to see कि ये punishment जो है ये मुझे ही साधने के लिए है ना, मतलब ये मेरे लिए, मेरे पे इसलिए हो रहा है बिकॉज मुझे इसको छोड़ना है. तो फ्रॉम व्हाई इज इट हैपनिंग टू मी टू व्हाट इज इट टीचिंग मी का ये जो शिफ्ट है ये मेरे लिए एक गिफ्ट है. जैसे लाइक दिस इज a blessing. These are blessings. These are the reasons why we are here. But it's hard. It's hard. Like not saying this, कि अरे हाँ हाँ अरे अरे सब कुछ check. It's hard and it has to be hard because if it's not hard, I will not. The inertia around me will not break. So know that सब कुछ ठीक हो रहा है. This is the way happens to everybody again and again. And how, Nandini, when you were sharing that how slowly one feels. And the truth is कि एकदम से फिर इतनी जोर से आता है कि we are unable to close the door, right? We again fall because something else needs to be further ripened, something else needs to be boiled down more. And then we feel we get it slow. And again, there comes a tsunami which takes us down, which cannot help us. So that also is the process for the ripening to happen, for my certitude to develop, right? कि हाँ ये हुआ बट अभी भी, हाँ ये हुआ अभी भी, बिकॉज कुछ हुए बिना अभी भी तो बहुत easy होता है, right? So again, knowing that that is the process, one feels that, okay, again, this thing that I shared, that every story is us, that we are all kind of, walking each other home. So that helps me. So that's why, yes, Nandi.
I've actually shared because Sham was saying about this, that it really bogs us down, and this idea of doubt and all, so with all of us. And there was a beautiful video I saw. It's by Ram Dass, how to keep your heart open in hell. It's really a beautiful video. I've shared the link if you would like to go through, and how he says that it's your soul's curriculum and it's really all perfect. So all your doubts, all your falling, everything that we are all undergoing, the idea of, am I right? Is this the right guru? Every small doubt is actually perfect because that's your journey. There is no hurry. Divine is not in a hurry. If it will not happen, it will happen in next journey, maybe next lifetime. He's not at all in hurry. So I mean, that's something that eased me as well a little bit, that there's no hurry as well. Like, I mean, everything has a space. All our doubt, my everything what we are feeling is correct. There's nothing imperfect. So that video really was really eye-opening for me. It's a short video for 13 minutes. I've shared it in case you would like to see. And also what Taru was saying as well, that even with myself, like I was feeling that when everything is gonna stop, it came to a point as well that I felt couldn't take it anymore, really, and that disgust that something has to change. And that's true. And from there the certitude begins. Or even I think in our last video we were listening to Acharya Prashant, that thing was really beautiful about the thing that creating a space or a space within us which doesn't move. So like that is the space which is untouched by what is happening to you. And that thing was really important, that no matter what happens, if we can create that center within us which doesn't get moved by the outer circumstances or the psychic self mother says or different thing is said. And like even with me, that has really helped me as well, because like after passing through a very severe depression, really, I think I found my path through depression. And the Ukraine war started. My partner is Ukraine. My mother's terminal illness came in. She passed away. And after my mother's passing, in 3 months, my grandmother passed away. And it was all happening in a matter of 2 years, back to back. But one thing that I've really found is that I actually felt that, there was a space that was given to me by the divine. And just by asking, just by saying the name, that please help me, I'm not able to take this. Please, can you please show me the light? Can you please be my anchor? And just by saying that, there is space is created within us, which somehow doesn't get affected. You can actually go into that space and crawl and just rest there for some time and again rest there. And so, yeah, so that actually video also talks about it very beautifully in case you want to see that.
Nandini, please do share it in the group as well, the link. Yes, Shyam, please.
Yeah, for the title of the video, it's all perfect and how to keep your heart open in hell. Yeah, the title seems really alluring. We'll see it and we'll get back.
Yeah, thank you, Shyam.
और कई बारी तो ये लगता है ना, हम लोग सबको ये लगता है कि सबसे बड़े थिंक टैंक, सबसे बड़े वॉन्क मैं ही बैठा हूँ. And we are never able to grasp what is being thrown at us. Even if it is a message, we just tend to ignore it. That look, I'm the numero, and we wear a feather on our cap and we say that I know more and I am more experienced. Although हमारी experience बहुत ही short term होती है, बहुत ही limited होती है, और हमारा perception भी उतना ही limited होता है. जैसे मैंने एक बार share करा था ना कि he spoke Greek and what he spoke was Greek to me. So it is all like that individual idiocy, and perhaps we would wake up one day. Perhaps maybe that hope is something that keeps us going around, that makes us go around. It never guarantees anything, but it makes us go around, that maybe one day we'll be able to go home. Yeah, thanks to all.
In this case, like you were saying, it's good that if I'm finding myself flat on the ground again and again, because then I know something is not okay. That's बहुत बड़ा कुछ बना लिया या समझ लिया, right? So in that case, falling down is a good thing. It's a good thing for my letting go of that feather that I have put in my cap, which is not needed. It can just fly in the air, right? So knowing कि दर्द हो रहा है, knowing कि गिरा हुआ हूँ, and yet I knowing कि ये तो मेरे लिए अच्छा ही है. That also is a very beautiful happening that happens to us. So I will be ending the session here. Again, it's abrupt, but I have a limited thing with my sitting. I have some, stretched ligament. So just kind of also saying that, the topic was remembrance and forgetfulness. When we are remembering, all that we were discussing today, and then the Sumiran, when it comes, it's like the Sumiran takes me from the everyday small things that I'm occupied with. This happened, that happened, this happened. But for the one who is holding the rope, the thread, the collar, whatever, of remembrance, of a chant, of a name, of a pillar inside of me, of that space inside of me, is able to stay somewhere a bit stepped back than where everything else is trying to pull them. And that is the real importance of Sumiran. मतलब हमें ऐसा लगता है कि भगवान का नाम लेके हम भगवान पे एहसान कर रहे हैं, राइट? कि देखो मैंने इतनी मालास करी या इतनी बार बोला, and like good. But obviously I am being held because if my rope is tied to something which is bigger than where I am stuck, that inadvertently pulls me to where I am stuck, right? We become what we think, we become what we say, we become what we aspire. So here, if I'm aspiring for the divine's name with this remembrance, that helps me in seeing the bigger picture, helps me to have that faith, and helps me to see that whenever I am just the doer would not remember, the doer would just do. So it helps me in staying connected within. and seeing things for what they are and not get boggled down every time. And that intensely. So that's again the importance of me remembering someone all the time as much as I can, knowing that I can get lost in the everyday, or I can keep holding on to the big, then I will not fall, I will not flow, I will not sink. Again, this is very easy to say or listen, and yet it takes sincerity and practice to do. So again, if we are not making small changes in our lives, then these sessions are absolutely useless, right? They are just like, how for somebody would get entertained by watching cricket, a movie, I don't know, any book. So just, before we end, just praying that this becomes more than entertainment for us, praying that it makes changes in our everyday, so that we can all move towards more light, more simplicity, more delight. And yeah, may all beings, may everybody be truly well and truly happy and find, the true truth or the peace, however we want to say it. Thank you so much for joining in, and have a good weekend.
Thank you.